I'll now ask that let's see, I'm gonna call the meeting to order, the Finance Committee public hearing. I'd like to ask if we all rise if possible for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will now look for a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote. This public hearing is the meeting we have for anyone to speak and ask questions regarding the warrant articles for the October 7th special town meeting. The Finance Committee began reviewing the articles in mid-September and has asked and received questions and answers, gotten answers back from Mr. John Curran or his staff. With respect to this public hearing, this is the procedure we will follow. We will address each article individually. Any articles that any residents want to speak on, please come up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. After residents' questions are addressed, I'll open it up to committee for questions. After the discussion is completed, the committee will vote on a recommendation as to how to proceed with the article. I will now look for a motion to waive the reading of the warrant articles.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote. There are several petitioners submitted articles. Is there anybody in the audience with, related to those articles who'd like to speak? Seeing nobody. I'll now look for a motion, turn it over to the town manager who will walk us through the articles. Mr.
Yeah.
Curran?
All right.
Excuse me, I have a question. When you just said that, did we have to say we wanted to speak at some point?
Oh, no,
It's not what it was.
I was just wondering if there's someone who wanted
You
to
were-
speak on,
Well, that's what I thought.
13
I
or
think it says
what-
town manager and all of them, so. Sorry.
that's okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what I'd like to do, if it's all right with the committee, is just, this whole meeting is based off actions on certified free cash and also finalizing the budget, which has to do with the levy. So I wanted to just talk about those two things. They're in the book, just so people understand the origin and the policies that define the actions of fall town meeting. So basically, I'll start with the policies as related to free cash. So the select board's overall financial management policy, after free cash certification, is to set aside at least $600,000 to set aside for snow and ice deficits. So it really doesn't require any action of town meeting, it just requires that that money be left behind at the end of the meeting, so there'd be a balance of $600,000 left in free cash. Another policy of the town was $650,000 at a minimum be appropriated to OPEB. We had already done that through the spring town meeting, and we appropriated that money through the original budget process, so that that policy is fulfilled. Another policy that the town has is at least 25% of the remaining certified free cash is recommended to fund capital budget items and one-time expenditures. So the remaining free cash after the after you take out the $600,000 is $9.5 million roughly, and 25% of that is $2.38 million. And the proposed special town meeting expenditure for capital is actually $4 million and some change. But the part that we're concerned about is the $2.4 million, which is the amount that's spent on capital. The other 2.5, I think it is a reimbursement from what we took out in the spring out of stabilization. So we want to make sure that we reimburse stabilization, which is a policy of the town. So then, 25% of the stabilization fund,
Sorry.
well, I covered that.
Got it.
Now. So those, I'm sorry, so the 2.4 is the capital, and then the 4.5 is the amount that's going to the stabilization. And of that 4.5, roughly 2 million of that is being reimbursed from the prior, from what we spent out of the stabilization fund in the spring. So then the town is looking to also, this our new policy that we'd like to set up and to get the board to adopt it, but I'd like to get started on it, is to establish a debt stabilization fund. Purpose of this fund is to provide tax relief for any future capital projects that the town will be undertaking. So this article would, one of the articles in town meeting will be to set up a stabilization fund, followed by another article to deposit 2.5 million into that stabilization fund. And then finally, you canceling out any prior year fund, prior year invoices, about $18,000 out of free cash for that. So all of those items that are in this book fulfill the policy objectives for certified free cash. Then just focusing a little bit on what certified free cash is. Certified free cash, is defined, it's the remaining unrestricted funds from the operation of the previous year's fiscal year, which includes unexpended free cash from the prior year, which is usually nothing, or simply the available fund balances of general fund as of June 30th. So our free cash this year is $10.1 million for general fund free cash. The DOR recommends, the Financial Management Resource Bureau recommends that you be between 5 and 7% of your general fund budget. The general fund budget is a number which includes your budget plus some other one-time budget items that you appropriate over the year. So what I've done is I took right off the DOR website what they define as the general fund budget versus what our free cash is, and this is a trend right here. Shows you what the free cash has been over since 2015, and the high point was 2 years ago. It was over 10 million, and this year it's 10 million again. But what's important to note is that sort of mauve bar is the range where it should be between 5 and 7%. So we're right in that range. What that tells you is that we're not overtaxing the taxpayer because we're not ending up with too much of a surplus, and we're not taking too much of a risk by being only 1% above, a 1% free cash, because then you're close to being in the red at that point. So that that we all know that margin plus or minus 5% of error there is. You want to make sure you're above that a little bit so that the town's financial position is protected. So that's free cash. And then the other elements that are like free cash are the stabilization funds. And there are four stabilization funds. You have stormwater, the water, the enterprise, and cable stabilization funds. Those amounts are here. You can see. Hold on a second. Yeah. So cable stabilization is 2.9 million. Last year it was 2.7. So it's jumped up about 200,000. So it's relatively stable for the cable retained earnings. Sewer went from 6.1 to 6.2, and then stormwater was a bigger jump. It went from 1.5 to 2.1. The biggest one, though, is in water, which went from 1.8 to 3.2. And there's a reason for that. The reason that the water went up so much was that we had appropriated money for debt service in that fiscal year, and that bond didn't get authorized until the following fiscal year. So there was more money in that account than we needed. So that money, that excess money, is going to go towards water distribution rehabilitation, and now you'll see that later in the warrant. So just to sort of try to differentiate between general fund free cash and retained earnings free cash, it's looked at a little differently because we tend to carry balances in our enterprise retained earnings accounts. So we therefore look at the prior year balance, whereas free cash, we don't do that because free cash, we basically break down to zero pretty much every year. So that, and then for looking at all that analysis, it tells us that we're where we should be with free cash and retained earnings, with the one anomaly in water that we're going to put back into the water distribution system. So this is all spelled out in the book that's available online and at the clerk's office. And then the other piece of the actions of town meeting this year will be the budget amendments. The budget amendment is roughly $165,000. What's important is what's the impact of the tax rate going to be because of that $165,000? And the answer is nothing, because if you look at this table here, it shows you what the levy amount will be that we projected to be $117,000 and $761 and $393. So that's exactly the same number we had in the spring. So the number hasn't changed. The levy is exactly the same, or the projected levy is exactly the same as it was presented in the spring. The reason that's possible is because we actually received an increase in receipts from the state of roughly $800,000. And so that $165,000 appropriation is being absorbed by the increase in receipts from state aid. So that means that the levy is not impacted in an adverse way. So the average single-family home projection is still the same as it was in the spring. And then this table down here really just shows you that levy again, but it shows you two numbers, the 106 and the 11 million. That's 117 million, which is the total levy. And it also shows you the breakdown of warrant actions in the yellow. You can see the 165 is the budget amendment. The 11 million is all of these articles associated mostly with free cash, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then that cherry sheet offsets $3,000. And then the charges from the state at 202, they went down. So the charges went down by 202 and the receipts went up by 671. So that's, putting those numbers together, is that $800,000 number that I just referred to a few minutes ago. So local estimated receipts of revenue is down by 712,000, and that's an adjustment to the interest account, and that's basically because these are all projections, so that's not necessarily a reflection of a decrease in receipts, but just to balance the books here for the fall. The important thing is the levy isn't going to be impacted in a negative way, and the receipts will cover all of our actions at town meeting. And I'm not going to go through these charts here and think that's all. These are just informational for people who want to really delve into what the breakdown is of free cash. And this chart here just shows you what the final budget number will be after the actions of town meeting. Like I said, this is a breakdown of free cash. And then retained earnings as well, I believe. Yes, that's what it is. And then these are balances of all the funds that we have. And inside each one of these balances, you see actions of town meeting are reflected in each balance. Do you guys have the book? Would you like it?
I don't know.
I would not.
Okay. And then, I don't know if it goes through the glossary terms, that's for your own edification at the meeting. I think now what I'll do is jump into the warrant itself, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
In this table here on page 16 of that book, shows you basically all of the town meeting actions in one table, and what accounts are being affected and how. And it all ties back to those those tables I was showing you a few pages up before that. Okay. So the first article, I'll start with that one, Mr. Chairman, is Article 1 is to raise and appropriate $165,000 for the purpose of making various amendments to the budget. And that's, as I said, being funded, what's funding that is the receipts that are available through the state. So I'm gonna go through each line item, just to spell out what each one of these changes are. So in Article 1, the first line item being adjusted is the town manager regular salary account, and that's being adjusted by $11,951, and that's to fund retirement and vacation payout for the assistant town manager who's leaving in November. So Steve Sabrick, who's been with the town for, I believe, over 20 years, is retiring, so that's to cover some of those legacy costs, and he will be missed very much by me because he has so much institutional knowledge, and he's been, even though I've only worked with him for a short time, it's been a very good and enriching experience for me, so he will be missed. Town manager professional services, $4,800. This is an increase to the Civics Plus contract, specifically an increase to the contracted amount for record retention each month. So we had a record retention of 6,000 records a month, but that number has been exceeded, and now we need to have a capacity to store 10,000 records a month. So that'll increase the cost of that contract by $4,800 to do that. Administrative services salaries. This is an increased salary of a vacant position. It's $12,129. So what happened here is when the budget was originally done, this money was this position was originally in the accountant's office, and then was transferred over to the HR department, and it was hired as a administrative position rather than a senior accountant's position based on the experience. So they were hired at an administrative assistant's grade level, so it required an increase to that appropriation by $12,000. Planning professional services, sealer of weights and measures. When the original budget was put together, we were with NIMCOG. NIMCOG was taking care of our sealer of weights and measures services. NIMCOG decided to get out of the business of sealer and weights, and we partnered up with the town of Chelmsford, and the requirement for that on an annual basis is $30,000. So we needed to increase that original appropriation of $19,500 up by $10,500. Fire regular salaries is an unanticipated retirement, which will also impact will result in 2 resulting promotions. So that appropriation is $46,000. Emergency management salaries, that's a stipend for someone to take over the role of as emergency management director. I believe that's Peter Smith. He's a lieutenant of the fire department who's already received a significant amount of training for this position, and will continue to train on that position. And the following line item, $15,000, is for operating costs for emergency management services. And for those of you who don't know what this is, it's when the town has a severe flood we're pumping out basements or things like that. There's someone that has to coordinate that, and that's the emergency management director. And they also have to, from time to time, purchase supplies for those purposes. So this is to try to fill that gap that has been in place for a couple of years now. Thankfully, we really haven't had any incidents that would require the services of this position, but I think it's something that we need to have in place in case we do need these services. And so it's basically, between the two, it's $20,000 a year. Building regular salaries, this was an omission in the original budget for both the building commissioner's position and the administrative assistant's position. And this wasn't an increase in grade or anything like that, this was just an omission. So it's a $16,000 change to that budget to make sure that those positions are sufficiently funded. DPW salaries, we are adding a position to the DPW department for custodian to take care of the new building, as well as the old facility that's now is still in operation and still being used. So this appropriation will cover the last 43 weeks of the year, and it's a $43,000 appropriation. But it makes sense to put somebody on to take care of this new facility that we just spent over $30 million to bring online, so. Previously, that was being maintained by a contract, and that cost money as well. So we'll not have to contract those services out anymore. And that is it for Article 1, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you wanted to.
Okay, are there anybody in the audience wish to speak on Article 1? No? Board members?
No, thank you.
Mr. Town Manager, I have one question.
Yeah.
On the Civic Plus, is there a bump? Where's the next bump, like after 10,000? Is it 15?
I don't know what the next bump is, but I know that what I was told was that this one will probably hold us for the next 3 years before
Okay.
we reach the 10,000.
Okay, thank you. All right, are there any motions on Article 1?
I'll motion to adopt Article 1, Mr. Chairman.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Article 2.
Article 2. Article 2 is a funding out of general fund free cash, so capital projects. And so there's various items on here, so I'll go through each one of them. The first item is a $120,000 vehicle. It's a Ford F-350, and it's replacing a 2017 Ford 150. And I know that there's a trade-in associated with that as well. I think that's for $12,000. And so that's a cost of $120,000 for that truck. And that's with the Facilities and Grounds Department. And the new truck will have bins to carry tools, stocking items, equipment, and have more power to push snow and to ensure high-quality services are delivered. And it is fully outfitted with your plowing, equipment, and everything else. That's all built into the cost of that, into that price. Field striping machine, it's $21,000 expense. We are trading in the old field striping machine. So that was, it was purchased in 2014. It's used quite often during the season. It's used from April to November 3 to 4 times a week. Like I said, there is a trade-in for that. And then the AC unit at the rec center, we replaced one this spring or this summer, and this next one needs to be replaced as well. It's $20,000 expense, and they'll remove the existing condenser and dispose of the V-coil and install the new carrier condenser for $20,000. Grounds, facility and grounds, Kubota tractor and equipment. So $18,000 for the tractor. Basically, it's primarily a lawnmower. Does have attachments. Will be used to trail around and mow the historic cemeteries, town hall, and other municipal buildings, and will help with spring and fall cleanup. So that's an $18,000 expense. Police station improvements, $8,000 improvements to the HVAC over there. Be used to repair the driver that runs the damper motor for the fresh air intake. And replenishes fresh air to cool the station down in the fall. So it uses fresh air instead of turning on the chiller. So it's a little bit more efficient and less costly, and so it's a good thing to have working in the fall. Police station improvements, walkway, $14,100 to replace 29-year-old walkway. It's become a safety hazard. The ramp will also be reconstructed. Entire structure will be concrete and handrails will be re-apped and painted, addressing the current hazard of deterioration. Police motorcycles, $35,000 for police motorcycles. 3 motorcycles are being replaced with 2 new motorcycles. Trade-ins for the 3 motorcycles is $17,800. Total cost of $35,000. Police ATVs, the cost is $24,000 for the ATVs. The department's look to replace the 2 2016 ATVs, which are used with search operations for missing people. Trade-in value is $6,000 for the 2 2016 ATVs, and the total cost of the new ATV will be $24,122. And it'll include all of the attachments, lights, sirens, radio equipment. So 2 trade-ins for one ATV. Fire equipment, funds will be used to purchase 2 new treadmills for two different stations. That's $9,300 for that fire equipment. Make sure I get the, yeah, okay. $200,000 for the recreational field complex to add restrooms down there. So there are restrooms right now at the old rec building, but the area on the other side near where the playground is and the skate park and in that area, we're looking at placing a bathroom over there. So it would be a prefab structure that we will plop down. The big expenses bringing that in, and then also bringing a line over to, there's a tank over there for the other one that already exists. We'd have to bring a line over to that tank. And so that right now is a $200,000 cost. And the DPW road and sidewalk improvements. So this is in light of the free cash being such a good number, we're looking at putting $2 million towards roadway improvements, road and sidewalk improvements. And this is basically a response to the study that was done, the roadway management plan that shows that in order to maintain a certain grade performance, you have to spend, a certain amount of money a year, and it's like $4.5–5 million a year, and we don't spend that every year. So this is an effort to try to address that when times allow. So this $2 million will be used to supplement federal grant funding previously approved for the Livingston Street Transportation Project. So $850,000 came in for that. So $1 million of that will be used towards that, and then $1 million of funding along with any unused balances from the Living Street project will be used to advance the pavement management program beyond what is planned with the Chapter 90 funds. And that's currently budgeted at $445,000. And that concludes everything for Article 2.
Okay, does anybody in the audience have questions on Article 2?
I do, but you go first, please.
I'm Patricia Muse, 551 South Street. I actually had 2 questions. One about the stripe painting machine. Do you also do the school fields, or they have their own?
So I don't think we do the turf fields because that's done with the.
Right, that's different, right.
And I honestly don't know what fields
Are
they
there
have.
any more that aren't true? Oh,
I don't think
know.
there are. You know, I know Vivian Fields are the center.
Yeah, right,
and,
in the
and
center
high
was
school.
terrific, okay.
Yeah.
I just remember buying the paint all the time, I don't,
Yeah,
okay. Sidewalk improvements, that's my little pet peeve. I get it, this is Livingston Street Improvement Project, but I did come to this hearing before about South Street, and you said you'd get back to me, but you never did, about when are we ever going to improve the sidewalks on South Street? They are a danger to everybody who runs there. Most people run in there, run on the street. And again, my husband's handicapped. He has to get off the sidewalk, then drive, go down the street, and that 25 mile an hour thing on South Street is, they're going 50 miles an hour. So it's very dangerous on that street. So
so,
those are my two things.
so I would have to look again, I know you brought this up, but
Right.
I can't recall, I mean, I have to look at the roadway management plan and see where they are. I do know that this, by doing this, it helps, you know, expedite some of these projects, like, that otherwise wouldn't get done this year, so it moves everything up a little bit on the list. But I need to find out where South Street is, and, I'll get back to you, I
All
guess.
right, and I think South Street is probably one of the oldest sidewalks that exists, because it was put in, I think, in 1977.
Do you want, I mean, I don't want to be, again, do you want, I check over there and I'll call you and. Okay,
All right.
yeah. Okay,
Sure, come on up.
My name is Laura Kaplan. I reside at 11 Lanaka Road. And I had two questions, but she brought up the one about the field striping. Because, and I want to make sure I understand this correctly, because I have a real problem with public funding paying for athletic fields of any way. I mean, the keeping of the grounds, the line striping, I think that should involve the school budget and be totally separate than the whole public budget that we're going to be voting on at the town meeting. So this 21,000 for the field striping printer machine is not doing any line striping on the athletic fields, correct?
in the schools.
Yes, for the schools.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood that, and thank you for your indulgence. Then on the road and sidewalk improvements for 2 million, I'm being educated again, and I thank you for that, because I did not know that if we don't spend 4.5 to 5.5 million on the Chapter 90 funds, then we have to pay that 2 million, is that correct?
No, so we did the town did basically a assessment, a study of all their roads. And what one of the key finding in the assessment is, what would you have to spend to maintain the current level of service on the road? So in other words, I don't have the study in front of me, but I think the grade was around 72, which isn't bad,
When you say grade of 72,
It's the condition of the
Condition?
roads overall in the town. So in order to maintain that condition, you need to invest $4.5 million into the roads on an annual basis. And we don't have the resources to do that every year. We at best might invest $2 million a year in roads through Chapter 90 money. And a lot of that is design, not construction, so it's probably less. But so what we're trying to do is put a little money in when we can. And that's why this $2 million is important, because it still doesn't meet what we should be spending on an annual basis to maintain the level of service we have. But at least we're making an investment in the roads.
okay. So I guess I'll just keep revisiting, because I think, and this was what was shared with me with Representative Maselli and Chapter 90 funds when they first were brought to the attention of myself. And this was that the Chapter 90 funds were originally allocated to communities to install sidewalks, period. Then cities such as Boston relayed, wait a minute, we have sidewalks. We'd like to have a way and a resource to maintain them. So then they put that loophole, I'll call it, in, for lack of a better word. Then all the communities, including our great town of Tewksbury, decided to utilize that loophole and use it for equipment. But I think, as Mr. said, we did a big, huge, when I had formed the sidewalk committee, we did a huge sidewalk plan, which was on the website. We actually walked around the community, if you can imagine, and we were a committee much like yourselves, of 5 parents, representatives, volunteers, and decided where we thought sidewalks needed to be, where they needed to be continued. I know South Street was one of them, and we put it like a priority based on where its location was and its usage. I don't know where that plan went, but it hasn't been followed, because I'm certain since then other neighborhoods have been built up and other funding's been done for the builders, where they sometimes will put a sidewalk on one side and not on the other. So I just want to shed light that I think Chapter 90 funds should be devoted solely to installation of sidewalks, like other communities, like our neighbor in Wilmington. When I drive by and see their beautiful sidewalks everywhere, I realize they have more revenue coming in, but Tewksbury does too. And as you just mentioned, the reason I formed the sidewalk committee is, I'm sure you heard the story, I literally almost killed 3 teenagers walking on Shawshene Street. They were walking abreast, and I missed them, I'm not exaggerating, by 500 feet. And of course, as a mother, I yelled at them, why are you walking in the middle of the road? They said, well, you tell me where we can walk and we will meet them. And it just kind of realized and resonated with me as a parent that instead of complaining about it, put action before your words. So 2 town meetings before you, Town Manager Curran, I brought this up, and they assured me they were going to look into it. I had a conversation with Representative Maselli, and he informed me of Chapter 90 funds. And he said, and I quote, if you really want to do something, you need to go to every town meeting, ask how much money they get from the state, and how much is being devoted to installing sidewalks. I realize we have to do road improvements. I greatly realize that I drive a vehicle also, but at what expense? Because when I drive down Shawshene, I'm not exaggerating, every day I see runners, bicyclists, pedestrians walking on these sidewalks. And it just warms my heart, and all I think of is I'm so appreciative, but I also want it to continue. So I beg your indulgence for my whole trail. I probably have went over my time. But I saw this and I said, I have to come and better understand it than just coming to the town meeting and saying, where is this 2 million coming from? And I think that we need to revisit as a community, Chapter 90 funds, period. I know you gave me a whole big spreadsheet, and I apologize, Town Manager Curran, I had wanted to have a Zoom call with you, and it didn't work out. But I really feel the need is there. And on this explanation of the 2 million, because of the grading of our roads, that sums it up. We need, yes, road improvements, but that should be a separate area. It shouldn't be coming out of Chapter 90 funds. Chapter 90 funds was originally put in place for sidewalk installations, and the only reason it was changed is because cities that already had thought that it was needed and put them in wanted a way to keep them maintained with the bobcats to plow it, etc., which I'm grateful for. But I think that should come out of the DPW budget, not out of Chapter 90. That's I'm sure they don't just use these tools that they get out of the Chapter 90 funds for sidewalks. I'm certain that they use it for their parking lots, et cetera, to remove snow or whatever that they need. So it shouldn't be paid out of Chapter 90 funds that were originally put in place for sidewalk installations. And I really thank you for listening and your time at every town meeting when I ask how much money, because every year is different. I definitely think this year is going to be very different in a lot of ways. And I don't agree with us having to pay the 2 million because the grading's down. I think we should be more mindful on keeping it in better shape, just like our sidewalks. And somehow, I have a feeling people like her aren't alone, and they want sidewalks in town. They want to have freedom to walk and not just get in the car to go anywhere safely. And I hope that happens. I think, Mr. Curran, you've been working on that, and I appreciate that. But I think it really needs to be rethought as a community, and everybody to agree, Chapter 90 funds, a lot more needs to be spent. Because as we know, not much goes into installation of sidewalks, even what the state gives us, because it's so costly. But if we keep doing it every year, it will become less costly. We'll just be maintaining them. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Board members, any questions?
So, John, I just had a question. It was similar to when we reviewed these the last time, and I just wanted to I listened to the select board meeting, and it's why I'm bringing it up again, because I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. With regards to the Livingston restrooms, it's at 200,000 right now, and you had explained last time that was for the the tie-in, and that it's like a prefab structure that would be ordered. And I just wanted to ask, because I know it came up at the select board meeting, it was asked of you as well, with regards to either like a timer lock or the kind of security component to make sure that it doesn't get vandalized. Is that part of this cost, or might that be an addition?
Yes.
Okay. And then the second question was the porta potties that are currently there are remaining, correct?
Yeah, it won't eliminate the need for porta potties.
Okay, so that, because I was confused, because I thought that's what you had said to us, but then at the select board, it was said that there'd be savings in the porta potties not being there. So I just wanted to make sure the porta potties are also remaining.
There might be less of them, but there'll still be porta potties.
Okay. Thank you.
And just to follow up, Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
I mean, out of that $2 million, $1 million of that is going towards sidewalks. It's going towards that project on Livingston Street, so, it's a significant investment in sidewalks. And then roadway management plan, I would assume it does incorporate all the work that was done years ago. It's updated on every so many years, but it does include, sidewalk priorities and things like that, so. I wrote myself a note to, maybe I'll post that online with the town meeting book, so if anybody wants to look at the roadway management plan, they can.
Thank you. Okay, any motions?
Motion to adopt Article 2, Mr. Chairman.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Article 3 is $18,761 out of free cash to pay for prior year expenses. As you know, prior year expenses cannot be paid with current year funds, so we close them out with free cash. And there are 4 expenses that are associated with this. For one reason or another, they weren't paid within the right fiscal year. So Council on Aging has Impact Fire Services. DPW has an expense for Brock's Industries, and TBW also has CMV Tractor and Craft Power. And those are the four expenses.
Okay, any questions from the audience? Board members, any questions?
No.
Any motions?
Motion to adopt Article 3, Mr. Chairman.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote. Article 4, Mr. Curran.
Okay, so Article 4 is to appropriate $4,552,639 from certified free cash to the town's stabilization fund, the general stabilization fund. So as I alluded to earlier in the meeting, two numbers make up that 4.5 million. So both the town and schools have future capital needs. These funds will assist in addressing them. This article includes an amount of $2,108,244, which replenishes the stabilization fund for the one-time capital expenditures approved from this fund at the annual town meeting. So we're taking money out in the spring and 2.1 million and putting that back. The remainder being moved into stabilization is 2.444395. That brings you to the total amount of 4,552,369, which exceeds the 25% minimum contribution policy for free cash, from free cash to stabilization.
Any questions from the audience? Board members, any questions?
I have a quick question. So, and it's probably too late to change anything, but if the, I'm thinking ahead, like if for some reason the next couple articles don't get approved, what happens to that 2.5 or whatever it is in Article 6? Does that just stay in free cash? And my thought was maybe, maybe if we could reorder, which I don't think you can do at this hour, put the Article 4 after that, you could catch that with a amendment.
So you think like if Article 5 doesn't get approved?
Or 6, I think is the
6.
money one, but either one, I suppose. I think they'll go together.
Yeah, you would, I'd have to check with them. I think it's okay. I think you guys can go higher than some places you can't go. You can only go lower, not higher. But I think you do that here in Tewksbury, so. I mean, I suppose they could also reconsider it if the other one will fail. They could reconsider the vote on the previous warrant article and then re-vote it.
You can do that? I don't know the
I don't
rules.
think we can do that.
Yeah.
You don't reconsider?
No,
No.
I've never seen
haven't done
that.
that in years.
Anyway, I don't know. Can it just sit in free cash?
They can do that. So.
Okay, well then, I guess that's what it would be.
No, we used to reconsider.
We did?
Anymore.
Long
Had an
time.
issue with the fire department and the police department, and they wanted salary increase, and this whole thing, fiasco, people left after we voted, and they did a reconsideration instead of one way with the other, and the whole public was.
Yeah, that's why you won't see that anymore, yes.
So they decided to get rid of the reconsideration because it was played out in a way intentionally, sadly, so that vote
Gamed it.
got
Yeah.
reconsidered after people left. So I
Good
remember
recollection.
that. It was years ago.
Yes.
I'm probably showing my age,
No, no.
but I'll never forget it. I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
Okay, I have no other questions on the article itself.
Any motions on Article 4?
I'll motion to adopt Article 4, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote. Article 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Article 5 establishes a debt stabilization fund. And that's done through Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5B, which establishes a debt stabilization fund or any stabilization fund. And that needs to be done in order to put money into it. So the first article is just to establish that fund.
Okay, any questions from the audience?
I have a question.
Sure.
Again, Tricia Muse, 551 South Street. It's the language, so which one is showing up at town meeting? This one with the pretty cover, or is this the warrant that we got in the mail?
This is the one right here.
Right, I have it. Okay, because the language in the warrant is a little different. So it says, to see if the town will vote to establish a special purpose stabilization fund. Okay, and then it goes on. And then at the end, it says, for a later appropriation for any lawful municipal purpose. Now, I assume lawful means debt, some kind of debt thing, but that's not, it's just, it's a little strange the way it's written in this warrant.
So if you read the whole thing, it says,
I did read the whole thing.
you didn't just read it.
No, I did
It's just
not. You're
revised
right.
for the people
Okay.
at home that are paying
All right.
attention to this.
Yeah.
I'd like to read the whole thing.
Okay.
So to see if the town will vote to establish a special purpose stabilization fund pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 5B, known as the Debt Stabilization Fund, for the specific purpose of funding debt service effective fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025. So it very clearly establishes this.
To there, but then if you keep going.
Oh, well, let me finish,
All right.
please. I didn't interrupt you.
All right, I apologize.
Said funds may be appropriated and/or reserved for later appropriation for any lawful purpose. Every stabilization fund that's set up has that language. You can do that in any stabilization fund. Town meeting could take money out of the stabilization fund, any stabilization fund, and use it to buy widgets. They could do whatever they want. But one of the things about when you set these things up is that you continue to use them for the one purpose and try to educate town meeting that these funds are set aside for that purpose. And then, does it mean that someone might come along in 10 years and say, oh, we gotta take that money out because we really need to buy a playground? And could that possibly happen? Yes, it can possibly happen, but it's unlikely because it wasn't really set up for that purpose. But all stabilization funds have that language.
I did not know that. All right, thank you.
Board members, any questions?
The only question that I had, John, just in looking at Article 4 versus Article 5, is the name of the fund going to be the Debt Stabilization Fund or the Town Stabilization Fund?
The debt stabilization fund.
Okay. Because Article 4, we're asking to move it to the Town Stabilization Fund.
Right, because there are two, these are
There's two different funds.
funds.
Okay. So you're saying 5 and 6 is the concern, that we're putting the cart before the horse with 5 and 6?
Well, that was.
I guess I'm confused, yeah, I guess I'm
So
confused.
4 is not related to 5 and 6.
Perfect, okay, thank you.
Yes, sorry.
That's okay. I'm gonna blame my cold
So in theory, you could take money out of the stabilization fund for debt service,
and put, okay,
Good, yeah.
right? But rather than do that, I wanted to create an exclusive fund
For
for that purpose so that it would be a little bit more bulletproof,
yeah.
and so that,
And you did give a great explanation, again, when you were in front of us before and at the select board about the reasons why this might be a good idea, so that those free funds might not go into something like OPEB or some other area that we wouldn't necessarily want them to be headed.
Okay. Any other questions? Any motions?
I'll motion to adopt Article 5, Mr. Chairman.
All
I'll
in
second.
fa- All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Article 6.
So Article 6 is the second part of this, which is to actually put the money into debt stabilization, and the amount that we'll be putting in is $2.5 million from free cash. And just to, I guess, to articulate or elaborate on what you were saying, which is the whole reason to do this is to build up a balance in debt service so that you can use it to buffer the cost of debt service in the future. So we'll only have 2.5 million in there after this meeting, but 7 years from now, you might have 15 million in that account if you keep at it. And then when you go to borrow, you'll be able to say, well, we can take this amount out a year and lower the impact on the tax rate in order to provide relief to the taxpayer. That's one thing that it does. But the other thing that it does is that, the whole idea of you want to make sure that your debt service is relatively stable, because it doesn't have volatility on the tax rate, and it allows you to continue to invest in the infrastructure. Because debt service, when it's left alone, it just goes down and down and down and down. And those opportunities to reinvest in debt service are lost with other things like OPEB, collective bargaining contracts, health insurance. And those things all need to be paid for, but they shouldn't be paid for at the expense of investing in your infrastructure. I think that's what you were alluding to.
It is, and I think I figured out why I was confused, John. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I don't know if we're at the point, but so Article 6 refers to it as the Town Debt Stabilization Fund, and I think that's why I was confused.
Okay,
That should be just Debt Stabilization Fund, right?
yeah, I guess it could be either way, yeah.
Because I
Oh, you're thinking this instead of
So
town?
because I'm saying
like
Article
general.
4 talks about the Town Stabilization Fund, which is a different fund. But then Article 5 talks about the Debt Stabilization Fund, and then Article 6 talks about Town Capital, Debt Capital Stabilization Fund.
Combined.
I
And
think
then-
that's okay, because
Yeah.
it's the town stabilization fund, and then it's the town debt stabilization fund.
Okay, no, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But so so Article 5 is the same fund as Article 6.
Yes.
And it just says, it says debt stabilization.
Yeah,
You
it's-
you want it to say town debt.
I don't care, I just want to make sure that it's the same. There's not three different funds, that
It's the same.
it's the same, yeah.
I'll talk
just
to
a
town
missing
council
word.
about that, see if there's an issue. I don't think there's an issue.
I don't think so either. I think
You
worst
could
case,
just say
if-
there's a Scrivener's error.
yeah, if people
Yeah.
are anal like me, you can say that Article 6 is a Scrivener's error for adding town, or Article 5 is a Scrivener's error for omitting town.
All right,
You've been
I'll probably
reviewing
just-
too many documents.
Yeah,
Probably just
can you
add
tell what I
town.
did all day today? Words mean something.
Yes.
okay.
Okay,
I'm not sure if you asked if anybody from the public wants to comment on that.
oh,
No,
on Article
You kind of jumped
I
ahead.
jumped ahead completely.
6,
Correct.
anybody from the audience would like to have any questions on Article 6? Okay.
I have a question.
I already asked mine.
So we're putting in 2.5 million this year. Is that your goal annually, or will that, I'm assuming that will fluctuate based on our free cash?
It will, and what I want to do is introduce a policy to the select board
Just gonna mess that up.
where, and what I was kicking around with Al was the minimum of $1 million or 25%, whichever is greater,
25% of the total free
of
cash?
whatever's remaining in free cash, right? So it'll be like the third
Another,
rung on the, so, and then, but if we can put in the $1 million a year, that would be
okay,
significant, so I was gonna do whichever is greater.
gotcha. Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask, if you're gonna sort of add that to the free cash policy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the.
And you might, I don't know if you'd have to adjust the other, the ones that say 25 down to 20 or something, but
No, I think
You
we'll
can-
try to we'll try to just stay on that track.
Okay.
And then if it becomes too onerous, we'd have to go back and change it.
okay,
But it's been working out okay, so.
good. Thank you.
Okay.
Question I had.
Good question.
Any motions on Article 6?
Motion to adopt Article 6, Mr. Chairman.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Article 7, Mr. Carroll.
So Article 7 is a vote to transfer some $1.4,090,000 from Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings to three different areas. One is water infrastructure improvements, which is what I referred to earlier, because we do have a higher surplus than we have had in the past in water enterprise. So there's $1 million going towards water infrastructure improvements, and then 90,000 towards the sludge analysis, sludge residual process alternative analysis, and how to get rid of our sludge, and then $400,000 to replace raw water and water intakes, a VFD replacement, pump and VFD replacement. So the $1 million is being construction of a water main replacement, new water service connection on Nelson Avenue from Marshall Street to Main Street, with construction anticipated to occur during the 2026 construction season. And the $400,000 will increase the cost of pumps and VFDs, due to increased costs in the pumps and VFDs. We wanted to increase the amount of money we're spending on those pumps. And that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any members of the audience have questions on Article 7? Board members?
Well, thank you.
I have one question. I think at the last meeting, someone asked if there was like any grant money.
Yeah,
available
and I
for
did
this.
look into that, and we currently don't qualify for that grant, it's a GAP grant, but we are looking into what we can do to become qualified for it. And it has nothing to do with the MBTA Communities Act,
Okay,
because if I said that, somebody would probably say, that's probably why, but I don't think that's it.
gotcha. All right, thank you.
Guess I'll ask the fool's question. What's a GAP grant?
It's the, I don't know it in front of you, but it's a sustainable grant, it's like a renewable energy grant. And so, there are certain things you have to do to qualify for
Okay,
it.
and we don't.
Right.
Okay. Any motions or questions or motions?
Motion to adopt Article 7, Mr. Chairman.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Article 8,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Article 8 is to transfer and appropriate $400,000 from PFAS settlements fund to fund the, to assess the operational structure of the water treatment plant and to determine if efficiencies can be realized through the elimination of the third shift. It also seeks to fund capital enhancements necessary to make this change, which includes but is not limited to SCADA enhancements and cybersecurity enhancements. So I've done this in my previous places where the third shift is, you paid night differential to work the third shift, so it becomes a bit of an expense. But if you eliminate the third shift and then someone's on call during that shift, and then they can also access the system remotely if something goes wrong, it's a way to save money. So we just need to study that, see if we can do that, and what the cost would be to do that, and see if it's worth moving forward to do that. And one of the reasons I wanted to do that was I talked to the DPW director, and he has some staff needs in other places, and I said, well, rather than just adding staff, let's see if we can find ways to reallocate staff so that people can see that we're trying to reinvent the wheel and save money at the same time.
okay, any members of the audience have any questions on Article 8? Board members?
It's more just again, I don't know anyone who'd be watching this and that didn't watch the select board, but to be clear, this study, if the third shift is able to be eliminated, it doesn't somehow impact the service that people would be receiving in town in any way, right?
No.
So it's for value, but it wouldn't in any way diminish any type of service that is already being.
The plant will still run on the third shift, just be operated remotely.
Thank you.
And it doesn't eliminate any positions.
The intent would not be to
Reallocate
eliminate-
resources.
Yeah, reallocate resources or attrition. Whichever comes first.
Thank you.
But you would save the night differential.
Yes. And the position at night.
Yeah.
Any motions?
I'll motion to adopt Article 8, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Article 9,
Okay, Article 9 is a CPA article, and this is a $22,000 appropriation to rehabilitate the varsity infield at Tewksbury Memorial High School, including all incidental costs related thereto. This was put forward by the athletic director, and that field has not been rehabilitated since 2016. So it's been 10 seasons of sustained wear and tear on that field. And it's not on par with playing fields in the Merrimack Valley, so we're looking to rehabilitate that infield, so.
Okay, any audience members have any questions on Article 9? Board members? Oh,
One thing,
sure.
there is a Scrivener's error on this, that should be the vote at CPA. It was at $25,000, it should be 25, not 22.
Thank you. All right. Board members, any questions?
No.
Any motions?
I'll motion to adopt Article 9.
Second.
Do we need to say is it a Scrivener's?
Well, if it's Scrivener's, it's
Okay,
not a...
yeah. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No, good question.
Yeah, that'll help me on the, that'll help me on the report that we had to put together before the meeting. Okay, any motions? Did I ask for a motion?
Yep.
We got a second?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Article 10 is to authorize the select board to enter into a lease agreement. This would allow for a lease of the North Street Elementary School within the statutory requirements of 30 years. Leasing this property will avoid the demolition costs that the town will pay if the building remains empty. So similar to what they did with the Trahan School, which the board just recently voted on that. The building would be repurposed and reused and at no expense to the town. And then eventually someday that building would be turned back over to the town, but at least we wouldn't have to tear it down, which a school like that, the year it was built, I know that there's hazmat issues underneath those tunnels that are in the corridors down there, because I saw that in one of the schools in my previous community. So that it makes sense to do that, good opportunity. And this just allows you to authorize the town the select board to enter into a lease 30 years, up to 30 years.
Okay, any audience members have any questions on Article 10?
No, that's all it's done.
Just one with Article 10 and then 11 with the same subject but a different time period. And secondly, may I ask the purpose of what's being proposed for repurposing North Street?
So, it could be one of two things. It could be, so what this would allow the board to do is do an RFP to accept bids for people to propose what they would use it for. Now, I know that there's some interest, there's a hockey school that was looking to use the building. And if that doesn't pan out, my next best guess would be that some type of senior housing like we did at the Trahan would be another possible proposal.
So no decision yet
No,
so we're going to vote for the term first before we then send out the RFP? Is that
which is
the
what you did
plan?
with Trahan. It's the same thing you did with the Trahan. In fact, I took these articles right from the Trahan school.
Oh, you did, okay. I guess I didn't follow Trahan as closely as I should have, but why do you have it? I'm sure there's a reasoning of why you have two separate articles. Are you looking at if the 30-year, say the 30-year term is approved, then would you still want Article 11 voted on for 99 years?
So, yeah, so one article really is town meeting authorizing the select board to enter into a lease. And the standard term of the lease is up to 30 years.
Okay,
The second article allows you to extend that up to 99 years. And the reason that is done, like, for example, the Trahan school lease is more than 30 years. So this would allow you the opportunity to enter into a longer term lease instead of just 30 years.
okay. So we'll have, if both Article 10 and Article 11 are approved, when they do the RFP, will they put in 99 years?
I would have to, I think
I'm just confused, so,
we probably wouldn't, pigeonhole the exact number of years, but at
okay,
least if we know that we have flexibility to do a longer term lease.
Okay.
30 years. One is required to town meeting approval. The second one, Article 11, actually is a home rule petition, has to go before the legislature to be approved.
I
For
see,
a lease that's beyond 30 years.
okay,
And this is exactly what you did with the Trahan.
right. Thank you so much for your time.
Patricia Muse, 551 South Street. All right, it is exactly what you did with the Trahan, and I don't know if you know the history. We had building committees that, for the North Street and the Trahan, that put out a survey. 850 people in this town answered that survey and said they wanted green space. They didn't want anything going in there, North Street or the Trahan. They wanted green space, they wanted park space, because they all had baseball fields. The baseball fields are gone. They had places for kids to play, they're gone. Everybody wants our kids outside, well, you're taking away the outside areas for our kids to be. And the other thing is, all right, you want to lease a school that you said we were told was unfit for our children to go to school. But now supposedly somebody can come in and refurbish that school. Wouldn't it have been cheaper for us to have refurbished that school? I mean, I don't understand this whole process. And you use the exact same thing that the last town manager said, I have a hockey school that's interested. Well, guess what? Nobody was interested when he put the first RFP out. So he did another RFP. And as far as, I haven't followed it because I went to the town, I went to meetings and they just ignored me. So I think they're knocking down the Trahan School. I believe that was the last thing I heard, that
No.
they're not knocking
No,
it down.
that's
That's
that was
changed?
approved. We entered into an agreement with SGC and Choice they're going to build 46
Units.
50 units up there.
Yeah, which makes a nice project down there in our area.
And just incidentally, just for your own edification, both sites, well, the first one, Trahan, part of that agreement was they had to maintain the playground, the open space outside for public use. And then on the North Street School, we could incorporate that into we plan to incorporate that into the RFP as well. That outside spaces would be able to be used by the town.
Okay. All right. This is very near and dear to my heart because I went to all those meetings and we fought hard to get our green space and we didn't get it. And yes, there is a very small playground there that you can't touch because it was done by federal funds. No one is keeping it up. No one cleans it. There is rubbish all over it. Half of the equipment is broken because I go down there with my granddaughter. So it's not even being kept up now, and it should be kept up. The town owns it, they need to keep it up, but they're not doing anything to it. So I'm totally against this. I think the elected officials need to listen to their people and to their people's voice. Don't throw it into a special town meeting where 110 people show up, where 850 people already voiced their opinion of what they wanted to do. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just to respond to that, that information is not correct. We have an agreement with the people that bought that school, we're gonna lease that property, and they're gonna maintain that park, they're gonna rehabilitate the playground. So it's not correct that nothing is gonna be maintained and that no one's gonna take care of it. That's simply false.
Excuse me, I'm talking about right now. The town has owned that building for 2 years or maybe more, right? More. And that's what I'm talking about. Right now, nothing is being maintained.
That's not what you said.
It is what I said. Well, and I thought that is what I
That's not
meant.
what you said.
Any other questions from the audience? Board members? I have a question on a long timeline. Do we know when that project is going to be completed?
The Trahan,
Yes, I'm sorry, kind of going off subject here, but,
it's a 5-year process. So you have to get funding through the feds and everybody else, and so it does take some time.
okay. Guess I got to stay inside with the article. Okay, any questions, any motions on Article 10?
Motion to adopt Article 10.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Article 11.
So Article 11, as they stated, is really the second part of this, which is to allow the town to enter into a lease that's greater than 30 years, which requires a home rule petition, but would not exceed 99 years.
Okay, anybody from the audience have additional questions on Article 11? Board members?
No.
Any motions?
I'll motion to adopt Article 11.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, opposed? Unanimous vote.
Did I not speak loud enough?
No, I didn't hear-
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't hear Rob.
Oh, sorry. Aye.
I got a side eye.
Okay, Article 12.
Okay, Article 12 is to authorize a ground lease of approximately 5,600 square feet at 199 Shawshene Street, which is school property, and it's a 10-year term for two renewable 5-year extensions for the construction of a 110-foot monopole and associated 10-foot wide utility easement. So the select board did not act on this, they tabled it. I think they're gonna act on it the night of town meeting, the meeting before the meeting. And I reached out to this because there was some concern on the school department side, and we're looking at a friendly amendment which would allow, I think their biggest concern is that whatever that facility study shows, they don't want the siting of this to interfere with the outcome of the facility study. So we're looking at putting an amendment that would require that this not take place until after the facility study. So that there's no lease or RFP for a lease until after the facility study, which is completed, which will be roughly April of next year, so it's not that long. And then what I would recommend is that you also wait till town meeting to see if that matter can be resolved before. And if it's not resolved, then the article will probably be pulled.
Okay, anybody from the audience have any questions on Article 12?
Sorry. Laura Kaplan, 11 Lanaka Road. On Article 12, I'm just going to ask because I have a really hard time with the maps that are provided in the article. I wondered if they could be, I know this was discussed before, but it never transpired. If at the town meeting, we could actually have a larger one visible for us to see. 'Cause-
Yes, I'll see if I can get one. I could put it up on an easel or something.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That would just be so helpful. And secondly, I know, I was thinking it was, maybe I'm on 199 Shawshene Street, that it was a school, but I couldn't identify it from the map where it's proposed. Is it the old Trahan School we're talking about?
No,
Or
this
is
is the Heathbrook School.
Heathbrook?
Yeah.
Okay, because I definitely find the need that we do need cell towers. I'm not objecting to that. I just like that whole thing that happened on South Street with the fire department. So I beg everybody's indulgence. So ever since then, I just like to ask questions more. But I'll look forward to the map to kind of get a better grasp of what we're talking about. And thank you so much, Town Manager, for putting that up on an easel. That would be greatly appreciated.
Okay,
Yeah, I think on this map, it's right, almost in the center in that circle. In the,
Yeah, it's tough to read. I
it is
completely.
tough to read.
It looks like it's behind the playground, you know, the playground.
Right.
Yes, yeah, that's what it looks like too.
And if that's possible to do, that would be greatly appreciated.
okay,
Thank you.
yep.
Anybody else?
Tricia Muse, 551 South Street. Do you have any idea what the annual revenue would be from them?
Between $20,000 and $30,000 a year.
Yeah, I always thought it wasn't that much. Okay, thank you.
Okay, board members, any questions?
Just on the process here, so, Mr. Town Manager, you said there's going to be an amendment to this, or?
A friendly amendment, yeah, that would basically say that he couldn't enter into the lease until the study was completed. So that way it wouldn't interfere with, you know, once the study comes back and says, well, we need all sorts of space over there, you know, then that would be a conflict. And ultimately, the school department still has to vote to release that portion of the property for that purpose. So even if town meeting votes to authorize, so the select board to enter into a lease, that's only part of the approval that's needed. You still have to get
Right.
the school to vote for that.
So,
And just FYI for the reason, so if you're not familiar with some of these federal laws on cell towers are deemed to be a public utility, and therefore they're somewhat protected. And the town has had a policy of trying to have them located on town property. One, because it provides revenue, but two, because it gives us a level of control over what's being built. Because in theory, if they can prove that they don't have coverage in this area, and anyone who drives in that area knows there's no coverage over there.
right,
If they can prove that, then they could locate on a private property next door and put up a tower, and it could be, you know, not with no input from the town. So those are two of the reasons why the town is receptive to entertain these types of proposals.
only we'll tell them, don't make it look like a fake flagpole.
I always wondered about that when I was driving.
Oh, you don't go there.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think we have two options here. One would be to table to time certain special town meeting, and then see if the amendment's there and then vote. Or we could just vote, and then if an amendment does come at special town meeting, we can take that up in our pre-meeting.
I think we should, just my opinion, vote for till time certain,
Any table?
table till time certain.
Yeah.
One quick question, any consideration of just withdrawing this and putting it on next May? Or
Well,
does the cell, company, whatever, need to?
Yeah,
No.
I mean, if it can be resolved, I'll try to resolve it. If not,
Okay.
we can just withdraw it that night, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in favor of table.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to table time certain special town meeting, Finance Committee pre-meeting.
I get it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote.
I heard you.
Okay, Article 13.
Okay, Article 13 is a general bylaw, not a zoning article. And it is basically transferring stormwater regulation from the planning board over to conservation. And the impetus for this is, when stormwater is, you have to have a public hearing for it, so planning board is having a public hearing. Conservation already has a public hearing for wetlands, and stormwater and wetlands are very similar, so they wanted to move it over to conservation so that, so they could deal with it in one hearing, on that side. So that's what's happening. And then, just as an FYI, most of the work that happens on these stormwater plans is done by the engineering department, DPW. They make their recommendations to, it'll be conservation now.
Okay, any members of the audience have any questions? Board members have any questions?
I have a question. The two boards involved, are they on board? They're,
So conservation has approved it, and I know that the planning board has discussed it, I haven't seen any negative comments from them, but I don't know exactly. So that came up, and I actually went and looked up the minutes, and they did discuss it, but there was no action taken. As far as I know.
yeah, I'd kind of like to know how they feel about it.
They try to find out definitively what happened, what, if they took any action at all. Because it's not, see, they didn't have to have a hearing because it's not a zoning bylaw.
Right.
So, let me, that's Article 13, right?
Yes.
Yes. Rob, would you like to table this to
Yeah,
certain?
yeah. I'd like to make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay.
It's a fair point. I would like to hear their
Yeah.
official vote.
Before we just say, sure.
Got that, Kath? Got it?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
We get a second, right?
I seconded it.
Yeah.
Unanimous vote.
You didn't even say aye.
Aye.
I made the motion.
She's got you.
Okay, Article 14.
So 14 and 15 are both petitioners articles, and I think they were, initiated or precipitated by approval through, I don't know, planning board, other boards, were conditions that one is a transfer, one is an easement, I think for a sidewalk.
Yep.
And the second one is a transfer of a drainage easement, I believe. An abandonment of the current easements and a new easement is shown on the plan, so. I imagine the town doesn't really comment on the petitioner's articles, but on the face of it, they seem pretty innocuous. And
We,
there's no-
we do if there's a financial impact.
Right.
And I guess that would be my question. Is there a financial impact on the easement for the sidewalk related to Article 14?
So, I mean, I suppose there would be, if, I don't know, that sidewalks will be put in, they would pay for it, but who's gonna maintain it and that kind of thing.
Right.
Who's gonna plow it? So, in that sense, there is, some level of financial impact, even the drainage easement.
Sure.
I would see that as a positive, because if you didn't take care of that now, and then you had to go in to fix a town pipe that doesn't have an easement, that's gonna cost us.
Right.
So that's actually a positive. This, you could view the first one as maybe negative because we have to maintain it. But I don't see it as negative enough to offset the public benefit.
And has the select board voted on
They
it?
haven't voted on either one of those.
I think they voted to take no action.
Yeah.
So that's
right.
what they did. So we could do the same, or,
That's very interesting. The responsibility is going to them and they voted to take no action. I mean, I am actually okay voting in the positive for both these articles.
same.
That's fine.
Did I ask for audience input on 14 yet?
Oh,
Anybody?
We're jumping the gun.
Okay.
sorry about that.
All right, board members? Any motions?
I'll motion to adopt Article 14.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'll second it.
Oh, sorry, Kathy.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote. Article 15.
I'll motion to adopt Article 15.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous vote. Okay, so I will now look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. I have one more thing that came to me today from Alex Louder.
Thank you.
About the Tewksbury Master 2026 Master Plan update. I guess this hasn't been updated since 2016. And she is looking at possibly updating it and looking to see if the Finance Committee wishes to be a part of the steering committee on the master plan.
I think it would be to our benefit, but I would like to have the other members here so that they could chime in and volunteer.
Okay. I will let her know.
So I think there is a value.
I agree
Okay.
with that.
I'll give her a call. All right, nothing else. Our next meeting is 6:30 on October 7th
The pre-meeting,
in the
yeah.
gym, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
Move to
Dunn.
adjourn.
Thank you, John.
Second.
You-
Thank you.
Aye.
How was I the one that said that tonight?
Unanimous,
Marty seconded, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm never the one that moves to
for
adjourn.
lots of cadence.
I know.
Unanimous vote. Thank you, everybody.